Hey everybody, Thomas here, and today we're out here with Mr. Robert, and we're going to talk about blades and some shortages that are out there, whether it be a blade stock material from certain companies or whether it be sharpening services. So first off, if you haven't seen Mr. Robert in the videos, I mean, he is the man, the myth, the legend when it comes to sharpening. I mean, this guy can sharpen anything, and I've been very blessed to have him as a very good friend as well as a sharpener of a lot of my blades. I sharpen from time to time, but usually I'll screw things up and we'll have to fix it. But if you've seen the videos, a lot of people have contacted him recently or asked for his contact information. And in fact, let's start off with that. So you were just telling me about a guy out in Oregon.
Yeah, there was a gentleman in Oregon called me this afternoon, and he had some blades. They were 144-inch blades, and he's buying those from Jerry's Resharp.
Yep, Jerry's Resharp, which they're a good company. They got some pretty good blades.
And ripper blades, and he really likes the rippers. In fact, I have 23 rippers hanging up right here, belongs to a customer, and he likes the rippers. I like the rippers. I like the way that they set and sharpen. They're extremely good blades, seem to hold up very well.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this gentleman out there in Oregon called me and was inquiring about my sharpening. And I would have liked to have done business with him, but it's just not practical that far off as the mail service. I had a guy in Montana wanted me to resharpen some blades sharpen some blades for him. And I told him if he would box them up, go down to UPS, FedEx or post office, ever how he wanted to mail them, pay the shipping both ways and put the money in the box for what it cost for me to sharpen each blade, then I'd be glad to do it. Well, he did that, but once he got down to, I guess it was UPS, he found out that he could purchase new blades cheaper than he could pay the shipping in both directions, pay me to sharpen them. So that's the route he went.
Yeah. So that kind of gets to the point that I'm also getting to in this video is also there are people who sharpen saw blades out there. So check in your local area, check the Facebook groups, check the forums, whatever. Ask people who's in my area who can locally sharpen. Because, I mean, you've got people driving hours away to come here to sharpen blades. In fact, you were just telling me since just this month, you've sharpened over 200 blades.
Yeah, getting close to 300 blades just in January. I have a guy up in North Alabama that he brings me his blades, and he'll bring me a box of blades, and I'll sharpen them, and then he'll bring me another box, pick them up, bring me a box, and him and his family come down, and they make a day of it, and they pick up the blades, and then they go down on the beach, and they eat, and they fool around. Well, he just makes an outing out of it. There's a gentleman up here in Alexandria, Louisiana called me the other day, and he wants to sharpen some blades. So he's got to bring me his blades, and he has a mother that lives in Foley, Alabama, which is pretty close. Yeah. So he's gonna take a trip, bring me his blades, go visit his mother, and then I told him I would have them ready when he come back through. And I like to put my customers in line in the sequence that I call it the circumcision order that they bring the blades. So, but since he's got to do that, go bring me the blades, go visit his mother, I'll have them ready when he on his return trip.
Yeah, and that's you get a story from Mr. Robert every time that happens too. I'm sure it's like a time warp when you come here. You never know how long you're gonna spend. It's always a good time now.
Yeah, I have a good time. I've been out here all day long, right by myself, just me and that dog.
Shasta over there.
Shasta, she's my partner.
So one of the other things I kind of led to this in the YouTube short video that I did 2 days ago. Here recently, we've been hearing a lot of issues with blades. So Timberking recently put out a message saying to all their people that they're no longer offering saw sharpening or blade sharpening services. The company who did it for them, they still offer that, but they're saying don't go through Timberking to do that. And I have heard of rather long delays on some of that stuff. Cooks, we've heard kind of a situation with Cooks where their facility where they sharpen blades had a fire of some sort. I don't know to what extent, but they're kind of backlogged on the sharpening services for blades. Cooks still does have blade stock material, and we've talked to some folks the other day, but there's that blade stock material is kind of dwindling, and we're not trying to scare anyone. We're just trying to have people be aware, and there's some precautions you can take. Meisenheimer, that's Mr. Robert, one of his favorites. They used to get what was the Lennox stock?
Lennox.
And they haven't been able to get 1.25" stock, and they've actually teamed up with another blade manufacturer out there, and they're trying to get blades to them. But the stock is just not there at some of these larger places. Now, I've had some people say, one guy recently commented that his blades he was getting are on back order. They were down in Mexico or something like that, and they just 2-month wait or something to that effect. Another guy just texted or just commented today. I think he's up in the Northeast somewhere. He said wherever he's getting blades from, he's had no issues, and they're blades are there in 2 days. So it's kind of in pockets. And right now, everyone and their uncle is getting a sawmill, and I'm sure you've seen it. There's just a flood of sawmills on the market, and with that increase in sawmills being produced and put out there, the blade market hasn't really caught up to it yet. Now there are some newer companies, I should say, like Jerry's Resharp. They have the ripper blades and everything. A great company. They're out of Kentucky. I've heard really good things about them. I think they've been able to keep up for the most part. There was a few little areas or situations where they had some delay there, but I think they're pretty much up to date. I've been getting my blades through Timberking. Those have been pretty good. The company that I'm working with on the carbide blade, they've asked that I not put that information out yet because they have a very large shipment of those blades on order and has been literally stuck in shipping for quite a while. So I'll have information on the carbide blades and where you can get them once they have them in stock. That's the issue is trying to get stuff in stock. And, with all the stuff going on in the world right now, there's a lot of uncertainty in prices of metal. And we were talking to like Meisenheimer and some other companies about blade prices. We haven't seen a large jump in blade prices, but there has been some of the jump in blade prices. In fact, you've seen that in your stones too for your sharpening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cooks, those stones went up a couple of dollars each or something.
They're like $21.70.
Mm-hmm. And how many sharpenings can you get out of per stone, you think?
60 to 80.
60 to 80? Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're asking people to do is if you're a new sawyer or if you've been sawing for a long time, if you have blades that are just sitting around, maintain those blades. Don't just leave them out in the elements. Don't let them get all rusty. Robert just loves rusty blades.
Let me jump in here a minute. Let me tell all you sawyers out there, and we appreciate you looking at these YouTube videos. So what our goal is to help sawyers, to help you saw good lumber and to get a good blade and get your blade sharpened. Meisenheimer Company up here in Morristown, Tennessee, have been using this. What kind of stock?
Lennox.
Lennox. I want to say Nicholson, but it's Lennox stock. I bought blades from them for years. They telling me that they cannot get the company they were getting that stock from. They cannot get that anymore. They have made now the smaller blades like 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, up to 1 inch. They can get that stock, but the 1 1/4 and above they can't get it anymore. They have made a deal or are contracted with another major blade manufacturing company to get their stock. But I talked to him about 3 weeks ago, and he said, well, about 2 weeks we'll be ready to start making blades. Well, I talked to him yesterday, and he said, well, they keep telling me every week that I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. He hadn't got the stock yet. And I asked him about his price. Thomas hit on this a while ago about the pricing. they have been one of the companies that I recommend because they produced a good blade
at a fair price.
At a really fair price, one of the cheaper ones out there. And I asked him, I said, since you're going to be getting a stock from another manufacturer, I said, you don't have to tell me. I said, probably won't. But then he said, yeah. He said, I said, is your price of your blades going to go up? And he said, well, we don't really make a lot of money on our saw blades. We don't have a big markup. Naturally, they have some because, I mean, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, they got to make a profit.
Yeah, they got to make a profit.
Yep.
But he said that no, that they're not looking to have a big increase in the price per blade. So I would think that once they start getting the material, and it is I know the company. It's a good
Yes,
it's a good company. It's a good blade. But
I've used them before. They're good.
I won't tell you who it is because they haven't got them yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're looking forward to doing business with this company and producing blades again. Now, Cooks, I talked to them yesterday, and I talked to them a couple of weeks ago. They did have a fire in their blade production area, and they're in the process of moving everything to another building. I don't know all the particulars about that, but he said that in another week or two, they should be back in the production of producing blades again. Cooks makes a very good blade.
Yes, they do.
There are several companies out there who you can buy blades from. And I wanted to tell you this, if you've got blades, take care of your blades.
Yes.
You wouldn't believe some of the condition of the blades that people bring me.
He gets some blades that looks like they were pulled out of a swamp. They are rusted. They've got growth on them. He has to soak them in vinegar to try and knock the stuff off because Mr. Robert he does a phenomenal job. He cleans the blades. He sets the blades. He sharpens the blades. And in his sharpening process, actually oils the blade as well. A blade is not meant to just sit out in the elements and rust and stuff like that. A blade like that will not last that long. And you're also adding a lot of friction to that blade, trying to pull out that wood, and you're just causing all these extra stresses.
Take care of your blades. When you take it off your sawmill, a lot of guys around here, drag that tote over here, Doc. A lot of guys around here, this is cattle and farming country.
We're using a trash can, but it's perfect.
I use it for a trash can. But if you can coil that blade up, it'll just fit down in that bucket, and there's a lid that goes on it. That's a
spray a little oil. Or
it's a lick tub for cattle that you buy this, and it's got minerals and supplements in it. You set it out in your pasture, and the cattle eat it. Well, you can see all around on the inside of this where the horns have scraped up.
Yeah, we find this all over down here in Mississippi, California.
But anyway, you can find if not that, you can find something to put your blades in. When you get through with them, roll them up, store them in something, and keep them clean. Actually, I would suggest that before you take that blade off of your sawmill, if it's got some buildup on it, run it just a second,
yes.
turn your lubrication fluid on, and clean that blade off good and get all that old wood and whatever.
Yeah. So one of the things I do, if I've been cutting sappy pine all day and stuff like that, and there's a lot of buildup on there, because sometimes that pitch will just build up on your blade, I'll run a scrap board or two of oak on there, and that'll clean it up quite well. And then, like Mr. Robert's saying, during that cut, I'll run my water heavy, I'll put soap in it, whatever it may be, pine saw. But you want to kind of keep that blade clean, because that's less work that you have to do, or any other sharpener out there.
Diesel fuel.
Diesel fuel is good. I know. And Mr. Robert's all big on it too. And I ran my Cook's mill. We had the little wiper system. But water's free.
Water's free. Diesel is not cheap, but it doesn't take very much.
Yeah.
Just a drop of diesel on that blade will clean it up.
Yep.
And
this is
lubricates
true.
It lubricates it.
When I'm running a lot of sappy pine, I will run some diesel, or I'll run some pine saw, or whatever, depending on flavor of the day. I've put everything you can on a blade to make it run better, but yeah. Right now, water works pretty well.
The bottom line is take care of your blades. I'm not saying that we won't ever be able to buy blades again.
Yeah.
But we have seen through some of these companies that we order blades from, that like Meisenheimer, they had to switch companies because they couldn't get what they were used to getting. And you just never know. I mean, who'd have ever thought we'd have had to use corn cobs for toilet paper because you couldn't buy toilet paper at Walmart.
Yeah, and there's been some weird things like hash browns. Freaking hash browns. Can't find hash browns. You went to
hash brown casserole at Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel the other day. You were upset.
I mean, for 3 weeks, they've got it back though.
Okay.
Finally, yeah.
Just this silly things.
But take care of your blades. They'll last a lot longer if you don't let them get rusted up. Yep. I get blades in here that's pitted so bad you can and break them.
Yeah.
And people wonder why. Well, it's a good blade. Well, it was until you throwed it out there in the grass and let it lay there for 6 months and not take care of it.
Another thing is also, if your blade starts getting dull, don't push it, especially on the hydraulic mills, because you can push hard on the hydraulic mill. On a manual mill, you're kind of limited to how much you want to hurt your back or anything. But when your blade starts getting dull or your set's getting out of it, whatever that may be, go ahead and take it off. If you are putting a whole lot of extra stress on that blade, you're getting heat buildup, you're getting, your set's getting taken out of it, you're fatiguing the blade, you won't get the 5, 6 plus sharpenings out of that we like to see. Now there are some blades, they won't last that long, but I had a blade, the other day I ran a blade, it seemed like it went for 1,000 board foot. And I'm like, well, it's still cutting good, I'm not pushing too hard and everything. But if you start really trying to stretch every one of your blades that way, you won't get the full life out of your blade.
In our previous videos, we talked about that. Put that blade on there, it cuts good. Whether you have an electric feed, hydraulic feed, or you manually push your blade through your log, you get that speed that you like. That you just go ahead and keep sawing. And then after a little bit, you'll notice that same speed, but it's slowing down. Your blade's getting dull.
Or you'll see waves in it. Waves are another good indication that your blade's probably dull.
Maybe tweak it just a little bit, or maybe push it a little harder. But the next time you notice it slowing down, change your blade.
Yep.
It's already accomplished all it's going to do. It can only do so much. But
and that could be anywhere between, depending on what wood you're cutting, 300 board foot to maybe up to 800 to 1,000 board foot. It just depends on the wood you're cutting, the size of wood you're cutting, if the logs are clean, if you hit anything. If I hit a nail, now on the videos sometimes I'll hit a nail, I continue to power through, but if I hit a nail, I don't want to stress that blade anymore, especially now. So I'll go ahead and pop that blade off, and I'll kind of note that blade hit something, and we'll have to take some better care of it. Because what your uncle brought you something that day that were missing? How many teeth in a row?
I got 2 blades leaning up over there. If you got a blade, you got your blades round. You got a tooth missing here, 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 and here. That blade will still cut. Yeah. But when you got a 10 or 12 inches of your teeth that are gone in a row,
that's not good.
That blade is pretty much toast. What you have to do is sharpen that all the way around until you bring your good teeth down to what you have to sharpen those bad teeth up to. And when you do that, you've sharpened the hardness. That blade's only sharpened about that much from the tip of the tooth down on the blade.
And you just ate a lot of your stone up.
Yeah, you eat the stone up. It just takes a lot to get a blade back in shape. So take care of your blades, and
I'm gonna check on time, make sure my video is still going. Yeah, we're still doing good.
I got a couple names here. SE Metals, and I want to say this is in Georgia.
Makes sense. Southeast Metals, maybe.
I don't know. SE Metals, and they produce a ripper blade. In fact, the blades that are hanging in here, these 23 blades, this is where they come from. And the telephone number is 706-553-6025.
And what we're going to do is we're also going to put all this in the description below. I'll get a screenshot of this. Maybe I'll put a picture in there, and we'll give you a whole list of different blade manufacturers. The thing you have to know though is what is the length of your blade, what's the tooth spacing you like to use if you're, what's your local sharpener do or what you can do, and also what's the width of your blade and what angle of blade you like to run. So there's a couple different things you need to know. Down here, I've run anywhere between 6 degrees up to 12 degrees, and I run it, 7/8 tooth spacing, but some other people run 3/4 inch tooth spacing. Just depends on what you like.
I have a customer in Angie, Louisiana, who cuts nothing but cypress. That's all he cuts. He buys it by the tractor trailer load. And he runs a 3/4 inch tooth spacing blade. I hate them. I have to reset up my setter.
Yeah.
I have to reset my sharpener. You have to have a cam to push 3/4 of an inch. It's just extra work that I have to do to sharpen a 3/4 inch tooth spacing blade.
7/8 is kind of the standard. I would say 7/8 is the standard. So if you have someone that's going to be sharpening for you, if you're going to be sharpening yourself, make sure you have the appropriate cams and everything else to do what you're going to do. 7/8 is kind of the standard. They're just putting it out there.
On this Cook's cat claw setter and sharpener that I have, I have a 1/2 inch cam, 1/2 inch tooth spacing, 3/4 for 3/4 inch tooth spacing, and 7/8. I have those, so I cannot set with this machine. I cannot set a 1/2 inch tooth space blade, but I can the 3/4. It just fits within the parameters of this machine that I can set it. It's got to be just right, but I can set it. So if you have a blade that's not 7/8 inch and you take it to someone who is going to sharpen it for you, ask that question before you leave your blades, because if he may not be able to sharpen it. I want to give you another telephone number here. This is in Kenne-Saw, Georgia. It's Kenne-Saw saw blades, and the blades are Mumford Sauger blades. Now don't ask me how to spell that, because I just have to guess.
He's from Southern Mississippi, y'all.
I just call it wheelbarrow sometimes. But anyway, I talked to this gentleman for a long time the other day. He has stock. He is really good about getting your blades out to you in a timely manner, 2 or 3 days. And his telephone number is 877-420-9235. And I asked him, I said, I have customers that ask where can they get blades. I said, can I reference you? Can I give them your information? He said, oh yeah. He said, I'll get the blades to them, and they'll be good blades. As a guy that did some work for me, he did some keel drying and tongue and grooving some lumber for me. And this is the only blades he uses. He swears. That's where I got this information. He swears by these blades. He likes them very much.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're giving you other local information, or local blade manufacturers, if you will. Another one is Jerry's Resharp, and I'll see if I can put that number down below.
I got it right here.
Well, there we go.
Jerry's Resharp. It's in Kentucky. He produces a ripper blade. Excuse me. And his telephone number is 270-757-1000.
And if I'm not mistaken, they do offer sharpening services as well, and I hear that they're quite reasonable, and they do a fine job with that.
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
I got a buddy up there in Tennessee. He says they're good, so I'm going to go by that. I believe Ben.
And there's another guy. I haven't talked to this guy, but I have seen people on YouTube. The guy out of the woods.
Yeah, Nathan. Yep.
Yeah, he likes these blades. It's jmaine.
Yep.
Out of Georgia. He produces what they call a silver tip blade. And his telephone number is 229-563-1172.
All right. You got any more?
No, that's all I have. I have these 4 right here.
Yeah, so we'll also put in there Cook's information, and they have a website too. I'll try to put Timberking's in there, Woodmizer. Those are kind of the big ones. But yeah, this is not to scare anyone. This is just really to give you some information out there, and also to ask you, if you're one of those guys, don't run your blade one time. If you would, please look at sharpening options, or if you know someone else in the area that has your same size blade, say, hey, when you're done with your blade, give it on to someone else. Because with everyone getting these sawmills and everything, blades, the worst thing in the world to have is a sawmill without a blade. That's a pretty crappy situation. So, I mean, it's really awesome when you just go out to your sawmill and cut whatever you need to that day. But if you don't have any blades in hand, if you run a business, I mean, that's your livelihood. That hurts. So we're just asking, just be mindful. Use blades. Don't just do one-time use. Run a blade to its full life. And if not, I mean, also, if you are a sharpener, if you would, leave your contact information down below, like a website, a number, a name, a location, or something like that. Maybe this will help someone to find another sharpener, maybe in their area. Also check the forums. You've got the Portable Sawmill group on Facebook. You've got the local sawmill group. You got the Timberking one. You got the Woodmizer. You got all these different Facebook groups. And also you got the all these forums and stuff online. It's a wealth of information. Don't be afraid to ask a question, because there are some stupid questions. So your question won't be the stupidest. Here recently, I got to tell you one thing. Here recently they've been asking, what kind of wood is this? And I'm like, how can these people call themselves sawyers if they can't figure out? I think some of these people are just doing it for fun, but yeah, whatever. Go ahead, sorry.
That's all right. On that blade, you run that blade till it breaks.
Yes, yeah.
Don't ever just run a blade and say, well, I've used this 3 or 4 times.
Some people are scared of blade breaks.
I think it's at the end of his life. It's at the end of his life when it comes in 2.
That's exactly right. Or 3, or how many parts it breaks into.
Yeah, how many parts it breaks into.
Now,
if you got a saw blade and you look at it and you see it broke halfway.
That's acceptable.
Yeah, don't run that, because what'll happen is you'll run that, get halfway through the log, and that thing will break. They're not always the easiest things to get out of a log. You have to put gloves on and drive a wedge in,
or snap it off or something like that. Because I've actually stuck the blade up into my drive belt before.
So if you see one that's broken, but still in a circle, but got big crack in it, don't run that blade. It's bad. I had a guy the other day ask me about welding these blades back together.
I've seen the comment here recently too. And
I can tell you through experience, if you got a brand new blade and you put it on your sawmill and it breaks, let's say it breaks at the weld, it didn't have a good weld to begin with. Yes, you can re-weld that blade and use it. But if you got a blade that you have run 1,000 feet or more and you've had it sharpened a time or 2, when it breaks, throw the blade away. Because what happens is you got those stress cracks in there, and they start in the gullet of the blade, and it breaks there. Well, that's not the only place that there's cracks in that blade. I have done this before. I have taken my blades down to a pipe shop, guy welded them back together, nailed them, fixed them up. I run the blades, no time, and they broke somewhere else.
Yep.
So you're just wasting your time by welding up an old blade. Like I said, if it's a new blade and it breaks at the weld, go ahead and fix it. But an old blade, when it breaks, just say thank you for your service and put it in the scrap pile.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's rather long and everything, but we want to put some information out there that can be used by sawyers alike, and just, kind of crappy situation, crappy times we're kind of in right now. So, yeah.
Thomas has been busy around his place.
Oh my goodness, yes.
He had several projects going that he has had to complete. So he's not done a lot of sawing lately.
Yep.
I have quite a few blades out here for Thomas to sharpen.
I think I'm down to 1 blade.
He informed me a while ago, he said, Robert, I only got 1 blade left.
I do have another box. That's my reserve box I keep in the back and everything. But
so tomorrow I will sharpen for Thomas.
Yeah, there's a few out there. There's a few. So again, hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe, and any comments below. If you are a sharpener, please put your information down below, and we'll try to put it out there to others out there. And also, again, don't be shy on some of the Facebook groups and forums. Let yourself be known. If you have any questions, just ask away. Just as long as it's not, what kind of wood is this? It's freaking plywood or something like that. We'll see y'all. Thanks.